right. All right, Mayor, we are good to go.
All right, good evening, everyone. As I try to do on every meeting, I'm going to give you some quick updates on the COVID in our peninsula in Nassau County and village of Great Neck. The numbers in our village we had an uptick a couple of weeks ago. Actually, the end of September, mid to end of September, we had a significant increase. And now we are plateauing, which is a good sign. That said, we did have about 7 to 9 new cases in the past week, which even though it's less than what it used to be a couple of weeks ago, it's still an increase. We do not expect to have no increase or get rid of the virus in any shape or form as we have opened up. But we do, and I really urge everyone to please practice common sense. Do not enter and gather in large gatherings, as those are the super infectors, and those are the ones that actually infect many people, especially if there's 1 or 2 people who are infected already. Please do not go to any gatherings or go outside and quarantine yourself if you do have any kind of symptoms, fever, cough, chills, fatigue, or anything else like that, especially after you have come in contact with individuals who possibly had the infection. There are 2 ways of finding out. If you come across with someone who had an infection, you have an option of quarantining yourself for 2 weeks, or just test yourself after a couple of days and make sure that you are negative. As far as Nassau County goes, based on today's presentation, we have about 62 patients in all hospitals in Nassau County. Apparently 42% of those, from what I've heard, are from outside of Nassau County, which makes our census about maybe about 35, 40 patients that are positive. Apparently a lot of these, or at least some of them, are high school and college students that have contracted this in their gatherings. We have 16 or maybe today 17 ICU patients. Again, this is not only from Great Neck, this is from Nassau County. 10 people on ventilators, and these are from highs of 500 people on ventilators just a few months back. We did have up to 2,500 patients in hospitals at the height. As I said, we only have 62, maybe 64. I know many of us are very tired, as we call it, pandemic fatigue. And many of us may not want to wear the masks or practice social distancing, as this has been going on for a long time. I again urge everyone to please use your common sense. Do not gather in large gatherings. I know that large gatherings are allowed in outside of states like New Jersey and possibly other surrounding states. It is very, very important that we, again, use our common sense, and even if it's allowed, not to go and enter those parties that are 250, 300 people, 150 people, and gather. As far as articles and the letters that are going to the newspaper, few things I've heard. There are people that say that masks don't work because the virus is a lot smaller than the pores that are in the mask, and that if you wear a mask for a long time, you can actually get strep throat and other infections. None of these things are scientific. People do not get strep throat from their own throats. You either have strep throat or not. You cannot give yourself strep throat unless you're sharing somebody else's masks. So please do not pay attention to those issues. As far as can masks protect you, the only masks that are known to be protective are the N95s. or higher that can actually protect you from getting the infection. The reason we're all wearing masks is because we want to decrease the emission of these particles when we are wearing the mask. So wearing the mask, everyone does it, can significantly decrease the spread of the virus and people getting infected. As far as, unfortunately, there are many false informations and letters to the editor that are being written. And as I mentioned in one of my letters to the editor, the people in our peninsula and in Great Neck are looking at the social media to get the facts. I know, and I'm happy about the fact that we are living in a country that allows for freedom of speech. That's our core belief as Americans. But I think it's the responsibility of the newspapers to make sure that informations that are being sent in and printed to be fact-checked, at least minimally. These things have not been done. In a letter to the editor that was unfortunately the title was initially called why do Jews in Great Neck are welcoming the virus? And then it was changed after people complained, why do Jewish residents of Great Neck welcome the virus? And then finally it was changed to why do some Jews in Great Neck court the virus? I think these kind of language is nothing but divisive. I am urging the editor of Great Neck News to be more careful about the language he uses. These things do nothing except dividing the community. The article itself is irrelevant as it has no facts in it. And I wish that the person who printed it actually called somebody in the village to find out and get some of the facts corrected. So as I said, people are entitled to their opinion. They're not entitled to their facts. So again, it's the responsibility, our responsibility, and obviously the responsibility of the media to make sure that these facts are checked and present to people who are actually looking for facts in these newspapers to get the actual facts and not just statements that are incorrect. With that said, I wanted to thank everyone who's really participating and really wearing the mask and their social distancing to keep us safe, especially our elderly and people who are at a high risk. We do have our schools open. We all want to have our schools open. We do not want them to get closed and for our kids to go on Zoom again. So I urge everyone to please practice safe social behaviors. And with that, I'm going to ask Abraham to start the meeting. I know, I'm sorry, we did not do the Pledge of Allegiance, so maybe we should do that now, and then we start the meeting.
Sure, man.
When did you know about it? I pledge allegiance to the United States of America.
To the flag of the United States of
Flag
America.
stands
To
one
the
nation
republic.
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
With liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Mayor, the first item on the agenda is a departmental report from the Building Department for September 2020. I'll have the report for you up in a moment. Here's the report for the month of September and year-to-date numbers.
Okay.
The next item on the agenda is a Department of Public Work September of 2020 report by Mr. Massaro. So Sarah, do you have?
How are you, everybody? I have nothing really new to add, other than the Ollie paving got finished up today. It was all completed. And I have a vac truck that just came in today so that I could start sucking some of the catch basins out. So if any of the board members have any people that have complained about any catch basins, while I have the truck, I could suck them out and clean them up.
Okay, thank you, Louis.
Okay.
The next item is just a clerk's report. Tax collection for year to date have been 97.17%. It's year to date comparable to the prior year is less than 1% less, which means last year was 98.7%. 98.07%. This year is 97.17%. So we are down by 0.9%, but we're hoping that we catch up. The other item, per the direction and request of the residents and direction of the board of directors, board of trustees, and the mayor, we have put up the legal notices on the website. It can be found under greatneckvillage.org. If you go to the tab with the government, the last item would be the legal notices. I can pull it up and show how to get there. Just a moment. So you could go here to the village's website. Right here under the government tab, the last item is the legal notices. You click on it, it gets you to this page. And for example, this is one of the notices that we have. It was published in December 23rd, but any legal notices that will be published going forward, it will be also posted here. I want to thank Karen for getting this done on behalf of the village.
Abraham, I just wanted to know how long these legal notices stay up.
They stay up unless we want to delete it. They just.
No, but I want to know how many weeks should they stay up, and then I think we should not keep them on indefinitely.
Mayor, some of the notices has to be published 3 times. Some of the notices have to be published only once. So once the notice is published and action has been taken about that notice, I believe we can remove them unless, Peter, would you like to correct me? Can we delete them once the action has been taken?
Yes, once action has been taken or after the duration of the newspaper publication that was required. So for example, if you were required to have publication once a week for 3 weeks, you could delete the website notice after 3 weeks.
So, and this satisfies the requirement for legal notices, correct? We don't have to publish?
No, we still have to publish.
No, sir. Still have to publish.
Okay.
So, Mayor, would you like us to delete any notices after the action has been taken and the time has elapsed?
Yes, because I think otherwise we're going to have so many notices from, I mean, again, we're just starting, so we don't have so many, but imagine about a year or 2 from now, we're going to have notices from, you know, eons ago, which just clutters that, that site. I don't think it's necessary to keep them on. So if there is a way that we can say after 3 months, everything that is on for 3 months, 2 months, whatever the length or the maximum length is, we can go in and delete them. That will be, I think, an ideal thing to do.
Okay, sure. We'll make a note of that and we'll implement it.
Or maybe they can, I don't know if you have that option to have it delete itself after a period of time.
We don't have that option.
Okay.
Okay, sure. We'll make a note of that. And once the action has been taken, we can take it down, or periodically we can take it down from the website.
And
Duly noted.
will they be listed in date order? Date in the order of date posted. That would make it easier.
Yes,
So remove and keep track.
if you post a new notice, it will automatically be posted on top, and then the previous notice will be pushed down by a line. So the
Okay.
newer
Okay.
notices will show up on top.
Okay, and it has a
Okay. Is there
date
any
of
way to
when it was
I
posted.
guess, yeah, it should have a date on it, right?
I'm thinking to put.
I'm sorry,
a
we both
date
asked the
that-
same question.
Yes.
It
I'm
has a
thinking
date
that
on it.
we could put the date on it that if I pull it up and you look at it again, you'll see that
Yeah,
it shows-
there's always a date on the legal notice.
Okay.
right. Because, for example, if you look at the notice that is online right now, for example, it says September 23rd, Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. So once the meeting has passed, we could apply that.
Okay,
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is to assign a street address to section block lot of 1-201-160. This has come in front of the board before. I'm going to pull up the screen, and you will see it right here. Oh, sorry. Okay, so you will see here that these are the this used to be one lot, as you could see here, and it has been subdivided to two different lots. The entire area was called 199C West Shore Road. The applicant had requested to this green area to be assigned a new number. This lot is located on a Dwight Lane. This area is a Dwight Lane. It's a private road. They have asked for number 18 and number 7. It was denied by the board. We suggested number 8 or number 10. They have requested that if you could please assign number 8 to this newly subdivided lot.
and he was okay with number 8?
Yes.
Okay. Is the board okay with number 8?
Yeah, do we need to vote?
I believe so.
Okay,
I'll move it.
Second.
all in
All in
favor?
favor?
All in
Aye.
favor? Aye.
Okay. Okay, it's unanimous.
Thank you. The next item is 777 Williams Road.
Mayor, the next item is 777 Middle Neck Road. There is a pending application by the Lions Group for construction project. The latest plans and specifications for that were dropped off this afternoon at the building department office. I have not had occasion to speak to Mr. Haramis about his review of same, but on the agenda for the board's consideration is the possibility of doing 5 things. First, to acknowledge that the board has jurisdiction over site plan approval pursuant to Code Section 575-105. Secondly, to acknowledge the board's jurisdiction over facade approval for the project under Code 575-272. Third, at the discretion of the board, to accept architectural jurisdiction over the project under Code Section 575-182. Fourth, to direct staff to seek lead agency status for purposes of CEQA. And fifth, to direct staff to timely forward the application and any related documents to the Nassau County Planning Commission pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 239M. Now, that last one would involve getting the advisory comments of the Planning Commission, which can be overturned by a supermajority of the Board of Trustees should it choose to do so. And the lead agency status would involve sending the CEQA materials received thus far to surrounding jurisdictions to see if anyone else wishes to have contest lead agency status. These are all the last 3: the architectural approval, the lead agency status, and the application to the general municipal law are not required actions at this time, but they are permitted actions, and it's up to the board whether it wishes to take this step at this time or whether the board wishes to further consider the documents and the comments of Mr. Haramis before sending the material back, for example, to the Planning Commission, or to determine that you're satisfied with what received thus far and are prepared to seek lead agency status on the basis of what has thus far been received. I do believe that Mr. Bloom is in the audience and I think is hoping to address the board. This application, I would note, and I'm sure Mr. Bloom will expand, differs from the prior application where incentive zoning was sought. This is an application as of right. It's resulted in a different configuration of the building, which the board may want to review. Mr. Bloom,
Yes,
do
thank
you have
you.
any comments?
Yes, we're asking the board this evening to vote upon and to proceed with the 5 elements that you have described. This project, as we've indicated before, has been on hold for approximately 15 years, obviously not necessarily at the cause or effect of administration, but certainly it has not proceeded in a manner that we would have thought it would have under the present administration, in light of all of the other projects that have been approved. Specifically, if I can mention 733 Middle Neck Road, which was like a lightning bolt going through the village and asking for relief that we wouldn't even be, I guess we would be embarrassed to ask for. We are now at a point where we're asking for that which we are entitled to under the law, 100%. There is no relief that we are seeking in terms of incentives. The building is what the code provides for and permits. Plans and an application was submitted to the village on October the 6th. We did not find out until this morning that in fact there were some sheets that were missing from that submission, and they were then compiled and brought to the village. I think this is an easy decision for the board to make, being an as-of-right use in accordance with code, and that we would anticipate that this board should have no difficulty, considering it is provided for under the code, to accept jurisdiction for site plan, to accept jurisdiction for the facade. These are provided for under the code, and in line with that which the village has taken by way of policy to not take the ARB or the ARC, which is the architectural review, and to send this to another board, counter to what has been the position in the past. We're asking the board to accept lead agency. We've done this before. We've asked lead agency with respect to an incentive project. This is as of right. Who else would be lead agent, and why would there be any hesitancy in designating yourself lead agency? And why would there be any hesitancy in sending this project on under 239M to the county for their comments, other than to continue to stall and delay this project? We are at a point where with that is not the first proposal that this applicant is seeking now very little. That which we are only entitled to as any other developer with respect to a property that this property is. So I'd ask that those items matter the planning commission on this.
Somebody's making noise in the
Mayor,
background.
may I just briefly,
Go ahead.
may I just briefly comment that my only troubling thought at the moment is that I don't think Mr. Haramis is on, and I'm simply unaware of whether he has any concerns as to whether additional environmental information would be sought. If so, any additional environmental information that you request and that is then supplied would be sent along with the lead agency notices. There may be none. The answer may be that he's fully satisfied with what has been submitted thus far. But I do note that the final documents weren't submitted till this afternoon, and I just simply don't know whether Mr. Haramis has had a chance to look them over or not. Beyond that, I defer to the discretion of the board.
If I just might, to be, or Peter.
Paul, I'm sorry, I barely hear you. I don't know if it's,
Okay. Peter, just let me just make this one other observation. The SECA documentation has been submitted as it relates to the incentive building well over a year ago. Those documents have been now tailored to scale down because we are now talking about an active right building. It includes things which are not even required under SECA, which is a shadow study. It has a revised traffic study, which this board has already had for over a year, now analyzing the traffic on a smaller building than was previously before. So though I agree with you, and by the way, this was also not just delivered to the village today, this was delivered to the village at least a week and a half ago. That being said, there really is no basis or reason for this matter to be delayed any further. I certainly can't imagine what additional information that Mr. Haramis would want at this point that he hasn't mentioned over the past whatever number of months. So I understand your point, Peter, and I think that in fact you are correct legally that this cannot be sent over unless there is a complete SECA submission. And I believe that we have far exceeded the minimum amount that would be.
Thank you, Mr. Bloom. I'm not challenging your representations. I'm simply pointing out that we have yet to hear from Mr. Haramis, and I was making the board aware of that. But now it really is up to the board as to how they wish to proceed.
hi. So I wanted to actually have the presentation made public to me and also to the board as well as to the public to see the difference between this presentation and the presentation that was made, I believe, a couple of weeks ago, or maybe, I'm sorry, a couple of months ago, with the incentive. I know that having these meetings on Zoom can make things a little bit more difficult. I know that things are getting delayed, unfortunately, and we really are not interested in delaying things. But now that you have the presentation, I would like to hear it. I would like for public to see it. I would like for public to also see the difference between this presentation as of right and what would have been with an incentive. As far as the setbacks, what the shadow would do, what the numbers of the apartment buildings that will be decreased, the number of the cars that would decrease in this versus the incentive one. I think those are the things that make things a lot easier after the presentation, both for the board and the public to make a decision. I am going to ask Brian to actually follow up on the comments. I know I see things popping up on Zoom. There are people for it and some people who, at least one I saw that is, believes that this building is going to be hazardous. I hear that, people are worried that we're going to have, 200 or I don't know, I can't read all these so quickly. So that there's going to be 200 units. Well, we haven't started one. So I don't think I believe we're getting ahead of ourselves. We have to start somewhere, and then I do believe that we can stop at one point. But just saying that we're not going to start having any development without even hearing what they're presenting, I think it's premature. We have been waiting, we have been deliberating for a while on this 777. No one's pushing it through. Definitely not my board. And we are looking to see what the presentation is going to be and the comments of the public. Again, I want to let people know that as of right means as of right. We have to see what we can or cannot do. With that, I don't know, Paul, are you going to make the presentation?
Well, I'm not quite sure that the presentation at this point is.
I can't hear you, Paul.
Is better?
Is it me that I'm not hearing, or no one else is hearing?
Oh, you sound far away, Paul.
Can't hear well at all.
I'm not sure that, though we are prepared to do a presentation this evening, I'm not quite sure that that is the process that we are requesting. We're not asking this board to vote on this application. We're not
True.
or to do anything at this point other than to start the administrative aspect of this, which is let's get the ball rolling. Would it not be better for the board and for everybody to see what Nassau County Planning Commission has to say about this project? We've been asked so many times, well, why aren't you asking the county?
Mr. Mayor, this is Josh Kidd, and if I may, can I chime in here and provide some comment?
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you the applicant?
No, I'm not the applicant. I'm a member of the community, and I'd like to.
Well, it's
Okay.
not time for
Then you're gonna have
public
to wait
comment. The board will announce when it's time for public comment.
Okay, thank you. This is my first time in one of these junctures. Thank you.
If in fact you want to have a presentation, we will make a presentation. I just think we're putting the cart before the horse. What we've done is we've taken a 4-story incentive building and we've now made it a 3-story building. We've lowered the height so that the height of the building now is in accordance with the code at 3 stories, 31 feet. We have reduced the number of units to 38. We've now provided 100% of the parking requirements that are permitted under the code. And we have complied 100% with all of the setback requirements, front yard, side yard, rear yard requirements under the code. So there is nothing here that we are asking which varies from that which is permitted, specifically permitted under the code.
Correct. So that was not my question. My question was, how many units are you reducing from the incentive that you asked to give as of right? That's the first question.
I believe it's 5.
Okay, so you're reducing 5. And what's the setback that you used to have on Gutile and Middle Neck Road that is now going to be lessened because it's going to be as of right?
As of right on Middle Neck Road will be reduced by 5 feet from the prior application.
And 5 feet from Gutile?
No, that will actually be a larger setback, because on Gutile, the code requires that you be certain number of feet back from a curb and also a certain number of feet back from a property line. In this case, the property line and the curb are the same, and so we're 21 feet setback from Gutile.
Okay, so you are getting set back more on Gutile, and you're actually decreasing the setback on Middle Neck Road. So it used to be, I believe, 15 on Gutile. Now you're making it 21?
It's
Is
21.
that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and on Middle Neck Road, it was 15, and now you're making it 10?
Our front yard setback is no, it is both 15 to the property line and 21 to the curb.
Right, so it's 15 to the property line. And my question again, on Gutile, it's going to be 21 to the curb
21 from the curb.
Okay, so it's almost the same setback. Okay. And as far as the height, what's the height that is decreased from the highest, from the incentive to the highest as of right?
Okay, currently we are proposing 31 feet for 3 stories. We had 4 stories before, and I would have to take a look. JP, do you have that number?
Yes, we're at 31 feet.
Now, and what was the, with the 4 stories?
We were at 40, I believe it was 41 and a half feet.
So you're decreasing it by about 10 feet.
Correct, 1 story.
Okay, and you used to have, if I'm not mistaken, on the 4th floor, you did have a setback again, correct?
Yes, correct. We had an additional setback on the 4th floor.
How many feet were the setback
That was a 5-foot setback.
on both sides?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So the reason I wanted to ask this is I do believe that the public needs to know. Now, as far as us taking, as Peter explained very eloquently in the beginning, we're not going to vote tonight on accepting it or rejecting this project. The acceptance or the vote for this proposal is just for those 5 things, and to accept the lead agency and try to send it to Nassau County, at which point we will get some information back. And based on that, we have to make either adjustments or have further discussion. But at this time, I think what the applicant is asking, and I would like to reiterate what Peter said, we are going to, if we are going to vote for anything, it's going to be for those 5 items. So I want the public to be aware of it and not make any mistakes as where the vote is going to be. Is there any other information that you would like to share, or that's pretty much what you wanted to say, Paul?
I guess any other things that I would say will be in response to what I hear from those people who are making comment this evening.
Okay.
At this point, we are very limited in the scope of what we're looking to do.
I hear you. Does the member of the board, any of the members of the board, have any questions?
No.
Okay. Brian, I see that there are a lot of things popping up. I don't know if you want to start addressing or ask people to make comments. Again, I would like to ask people to make the comments to the minimum. If someone has made the comment already, please do not repeat for the sake of time. I appreciate everybody's inputs. If the member of the boards agree, I would like to open for public comments. Hopefully we can keep it short just to have some ideas.
Before we open it for comment, again, please be aware that the applicant is proposing a building as of right, which greatly limits what this board can do to oppose it. And that is not even what's coming up in front of us tonight. Okay?
Right.
All that's coming up in front of us tonight is those administrative items, which is take lead agency and architectural review and things like that. So if, for us to vote on that has nothing to do with the substance or the final approval of this building. But again, a lot of people are saying they oppose this building or they're not opposed to it, they want this building. That's not what's in front of us tonight, okay? Now, you could open it up.
Okay, I guess Joshua Caden, if you can unmute yourself, and please, I'm just going to remind the audience, we're going to speak one at a time. Please keep your messages as short as possible for the sake of time, and state your name and address for the record.
Thank you, Brian. My name is Josh Caden. Address is on East Shore Road in Kings Point, New York. I've been a resident for almost 20 years now. Like you said, my name is Josh Caden. Last month, I don't know if some of you caught it online, but I wrote an article that was published in the Great Neck Record. The response was completely overwhelming. I did not expect to get the response that I did. I actually was able to connect with a lot of friends from high school that I hadn't heard from in over a decade, many of which that expressed a lot of the same concerns that I wrote about. that Great Neck is no longer, and the charming community that we grew up to love. A lot of the favorite retail locations, favorite hangouts no longer exist. And we tried to dig in a little bit further as to why that is. And yes, there's macro conditions that are out of our control, but there are things that are in our control. And I was encouraged after speaking with some local politicians, local developers, local community members to explore this further and voice our frustrations with some of the past policy decisions or lack thereof to develop our community and continue to make it what could be one of the best places in the world. If you think about it, we are so close to New York City, the greatest city. We're close to everything from temples, great restaurants, country clubs, boat clubs, beaches. There's no reason to be driving down the main street of our town and see empty retail the way it is. So I guess my question is, why the hesitancy to invest in the community? Why the hesitancy to put up brand new development and attract new young families? And so that's really something I question. I put the question to the entire group here. I'm obviously new here, but I plan on becoming a more active member with backup from many of the younger generation who is looking to come back to Great Neck, but would like to have a reason to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else has a comment to make?
Yes, I do. I believe I was next, but I'm happy to go after if that's okay. So yeah, I'm Daniel Wisen from Melville Lane in Saddle Rock. So I'd like to reiterate what Josh said. I'm not going to repeat the point, but I think there needs to be more development in Great Neck. More specifically, I'd like to talk about this specific project and kind of what needs to happen tonight, because I think that's important. We're not here to discuss, final approval for this or not. We're here to start the administrative process to get into it, which I see absolutely no reason why we shouldn't start that. It makes no sense for this debate not to continue and for this project not to progress along. It seems that they've provided a traffic plan. It seems that they're completely within code, no variances. It seems like everything's as of right. The shadows are no longer an issue. The setbacks are handled. I've seen some people in the comments of this chat discuss the safety of providing egress on Middle Neck Road versus Guthiel. If you think that providing egress on the larger road with more visibility and more vigilance from drivers and pedestrians is less safe, that you have to explain the logic to me, because providing egress on Guthiel is going to cause problems on that street way more than providing it on Middle Neck Road. So that's the first thing. The second thing is it just doesn't make sense to me that an as of right project is being met with such hesitancy and reticence to put forward. I mean, this is completely within their rights. They're providing reasonably affordable compared to the homes in the neighborhood, access to housing. And if I just asked the rest of the group, what is your future of Great Neck look like? Is it a more single family homes and kind of a quiet, empty, non-retail, town, or is this a town that can attract younger professionals and younger residents, to keep it forward? No one's going to be here forever, but we'd like to see this town, grow and be a place that attracts younger, newer people who are trying to start their lives. So, in summary, administratively, there's no reason for this not to go forward. I'd be curious to hear the arguments against, and we should move this process forward. Thank you.
Sam Yellis?
Hi, yeah, I unmuted. So, I see some of the comments, actually,
Just for the record, your name and address, please.
excuse me, Sam Yellis, Hollies Lane, Great Neck, New York.
Thank you.
It's not a question of no development. It's just a question of projects that are too big. This one has recently been scaled down to as of right, so maybe this project is changing. You're all saying that this is your first time and you're just new to the game. You haven't been in this for 5, 10, 15 years, which some of the people here have been. People are not opposed to all development. This one, the one on North, obviously, some of these buildings are shandas. They're embarrassments. They're hazards the way they are and need to be torn down. The possibility, though, of building A, within code, and B, within a scale of life. Nobody's saying no new apartments. But what you all have to understand is that we're really about 2/3 of the way together. Instead of 60 apartments, 40 apartments, instead of 30, 20. It's not that we're against all development. It's just we're against overdevelopment. And the overdevelopment affects things like traffic, affects things like water table, affects other things that affect quality of life. When the mayor is talking about setbacks, that's so that people could walk on the sidewalk, to make a more livable scale, a more human scale. I applaud him for that. So it's not a question of no development. It's a question, you want to say, keep the character of the village, and the character of the village, like all things, changes. Everything changes. But I don't want to live up here in the village and look at my Main Street, Middle Neck Road, the way it looks between the Best Mart Shopping Center and Northern Boulevard. I don't want a canyon. I don't want a wall of apartment buildings with no setback and no ambiance, if you will, want to call it that, no real streetscape. And I think that the plans and the visions for the northern part of the peninsula, meaning the village of Great Neck, should include, and has been included in the discussions over the last 5+ years about what that new streetscape should be, whether it's more walkable, it all adds up to more livable. So nobody's saying no apartments. We're just saying a few less apartments with not hundreds of cars. I'm out of time. Thank you.
Sam, yeah, Sam, if you don't mind, I appreciate that you're not saying no new apartments. There are those who do say that, and who do express that sentiment. So
well, they could
yes.
raise their hand in the chat and speak for themselves. It's clear that
right.
it's clear that there are sites that need redevelopment. It's clear that there are sites that need redevelopment. The question is what goes in. And I think it should be something that, again, I understand we want more apartments for empty nesters. We want more apartments for the next generation. We want more apartments that are close to shul, all admirable. The question is how many we could fit in safely without adversely affecting the quality of life for all. Even if you live one block off of that road, without the shadows. But we all have to live together. And I'd like to see a peninsula and a village where it's a livable human scale of life. That's my take. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to, on what Sam said, I think something that we have been saying, and I know that a couple of years ago we started this group and we discussed it, what my vision was and what we see as the community. And I think everybody agrees to have more of a setback, to push these buildings back further, to have more walkability, not only walkability on the sidewalks, but also to create an area that makes that streetscape a much nicer and more inviting place for people to come out and walk. So I do agree with Sam. I would like to see buildings that are pushed back further. And again, that said, there may be some incentives that we can give as far as height if we can push these buildings back. So just something to ponder upon as I discussed in the beginning, the difference between this and something that would possibly push this building back further if they're going to get, a couple of more units. Again, it doesn't make doesn't make things more necessarily, does not create more traffic, but it can create the streetscape a lot nicer. That's just thought. Okay, next person.
I'd like to speak. My name is Mark Eshapur. I'm resident of Great Neck since I've been born, 6 Rodney Lane, Great Neck, New York. Mayor Brawl, I want to say that I don't think we're having a good faith argument. I really feel at this point that it's not about compromising setbacks and things of that nature. There's a small but vocal minority, very politically well represented at community meetings such as this, that will never.
Mark, you muted yourself. Mark, you muted yourself. There you
Sorry. They may say it's not this project, but there's always something that will make each project not good enough. I really feel that it's incumbent upon the leaders of this community, such as yourself, Mr. Brawl, to have the courage to stand up to that vocal minority. I really feel these debates are not convincing any residents of what they don't already believe. So I ask upon you and the rest of the board to please have the courage to give this project the fair due process that it deserves, and not keep holding it up because of a vocal few that will just be not in my backyard about every single project that comes up and come up with this reason or that reason not to support this project. I really look forward to the future of Great Neck. I feel we have a bright future, but it will take leadership from people like you. And I thank you for your time.
Okay,
I just want to remind people, this project is brand new. It's in front of us for the first time. There were previous projects, previous applications. This project is not delayed. This project is in front of us for the first time. Okay.
Okay, if anybody else would like to speak, please unmute yourself and state your name and address for the record, please.
Hello.
Brian, sorry about that.
You're all good. You want to go or should I go?
Just
I can go. I'll be very quick.
I go.
Brian, my name is Arya Mokhtari. I live in 18 Twin Pond Street. I think we have to start considering what comes next for Great Neck. And these conversations we're having in this chat about safety, those are things we can solve. Those are things we can get through. This development project is beautiful. And what we're looking for, what I'm looking for in Great Neck is new modern buildings, places I would like to live in, places I would like to move my family into. And when I drive down Great Neck and I see these homes, these apartment buildings, my first reaction is, yuck, I cannot live in these buildings. And I think why you're seeing so much of the vocal sort of people in favor of this project being youthful and young is because we're looking for these new aesthetics that truly match sort of the style we favor. And I took a look at this building and I said, damn, that is beautiful. That is a place I would live in. That, whoever was in charge of the project, they put detail into the architecture. They cared. Material-wise, it looked well built. And if we're talking about what is the next building that comes into Great Neck, that is the exact type of building I'm looking for. Beautifully made, well built. And I'm hoping there will be more of those type of buildings inside Great Neck, places I will pass and say I want to live in, because it's been a while since I felt that way. And my family lives here and I want to be around them. My friends live here and I want to be around them. And I prefer to do that in a place I'm proud to live in. This is the building that is that. So that's my position.
All right, I just want to just say something. I know that there are a lot of people new. This meeting is not to say yes or no to this project. It's just, as we mentioned, and I think Peter said it, I said it, and Bart reiterated again. It's not regarding if this is going to get approved or not. This is regarding what we're going to do as far as accepting it as a lead agency or not. Now, and for other things. One thing I wanted to say, I don't think anyone, I'd like to say majority of people on this chat, from what I'm hearing, are not against development. I'm certainly not against development, as I'm sure many people who are either they're my opponents or people who support me know. I'm not against development. What I am against, I'm against bad development. I'm not saying this is a bad development. I'm for the proper and smart development, and that's what we're trying to get. And I think these presentations will allow for people to exchange their ideas. I do agree that we do need to have developments in order to keep Great Neck alive and lively. And I do believe that everyone here, except maybe a few, I'm not sure, disagrees with that. The question is the size, the setback, the streetscape, the location, and all that we have to take into consideration. I don't think anyone of the board is saying no to all the developments, but it's our responsibility to make sure that these developments are proper, they're properly presented, properly developed, and are going to increase the value of everybody's life, and not just a few. Again, just wanted to thank everyone for participating, but please remember that we are not in the process of approval. We're just in the process of taking the lead agency and a few other things. Anyone else has any comments to make?
Hi, how are you? First of all, my name is Joe Nitani. I live in 1 Ipswich Avenue, in the building Cameo Plaza. First of all, thank you guys for everything you do. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about me and my wife. We live all the way in town, where the rest of my family live much more closer to that Steamboat Road area where all the schools are. And we have one kid right now who's just turned 1 today. And we're in this 1-bedroom apartment here. And we're constantly saying how dying to move closer to our family, closer to our shul, closer to where our life really is. We do not feel like there's any real, there's not enough, or there's no good options for us, where we still have to live all the way in town. And every single week we have to walk almost an hour to go to shul to go see our parents. And there's no nice place for us to live closer to that area. And I understand that you guys say that you're not opposed to some developments. You want maybe the size is the problem, but you're not opposed to development. But I know countless of people, I can name 20 off the bat, who would gladly move somewhere much closer to that area. It's not, there's a big demand for something in that area. Just wanted to let you guys know. But anyway, thank you for everything you guys do, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anybody else would like to make comments? Just unmute yourself, Amy. I see you there.
Yes. Hi, I'd like to make a comment. This is just getting back to a very pragmatic aspect of this building, which obviously, if it's as of right, it will most probably be approved. However, we still have the problem of the width of Gutile Lane, which is simply too narrow, I feel, to accommodate the type of traffic that you're looking at, with a lot of people coming in and out of this building. Now, I think that a possible solution to this would actually be to widen Gutile Lane itself. This is where a traffic consultant would really come in handy. I could say 6 feet, 8 feet, 10 feet. I don't know how many feet. You're talking about setbacks, which are very important, but I think the whole road needs to be widened. And I hope that you will seriously take this possibility under consideration. I am not saying I'm objecting to the building at all, but you have a major traffic issue with this very tiny dead end road. It's simply there, and you can't just talk your way out of. Thank you very much. That's it for tonight.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Any other comments that anybody from the public would like to make? Just please unmute yourself. There's too many people to go through all the comments that are happening so quickly to see who wants to talk.
Hey, how are you? Is it all right if I say something?
Go ahead, just please state your name and address for the record.
Sure. My name is Jacob Haruni. I live in Kings Point on Tideway. I'd like to add a couple things to everyone's comments. First of all, this is a great discussion that we're having. This is very needed in order for the safety for the neighbors to be responsible and comfortable, to have their kids outside and to walk outside their houses. They need to feel very comfortable. I think that's the most important thing that's happening right now, because the neighbors around this development would feel very uncomfortable with what's going on. Now, in the whole midst of the community, we're always looking to add value and we're always looking to improve. Now, in one of our years that we're living right now in our times in COVID-19, we're all looking for what's better and what's needed. And I think this is not a negative to the community. So in my opinion, I think this is very needed. This is definitely needed. This definitely needs to be approved by the board for the safety. Now, if there needs to be a traffic person that should be there during the daytime or multiple traffic people that are considered like a security guard or considered a traffic person, sure, that can be handled and that can be agreed upon. There needs to be multiple agreements with everyone that has to be on board with the safety and on board with what's going on, because clearly after development that takes about 1 to 3 years on where you start right now, after that, everything will get better. Now, there's always a rough time, and in these times, it seems like it could be rough, but there's a lot of improvement. Now, if you stop improvements and you stop growing with developments and how you see the suburban cities grow by the year and how we are and where we are in life in 2020, we want to continue that. Stopping this is definitely a negative to the whole community. And I think development is very, very important, and it plays a big role in the economy. So that's the number one thing that I see. The second thing that I wanted to reiterate was the safety. Now, the neighbors are very, very important. And, I live in a house with my family, and there is a construction house going across the street. Every morning I wake up to it. It's on my side of the bedroom, and it's very frustrating. Now, for the better of the good, I know that house is going to look beautiful and my house is going to be better, because in 2 years, my life will improve. Now, okay, sure, maybe for now, I don't get enough sleep or I wake up in the morning, but at the same time, in the future, which is all what we are looking to get better upon, that should always be the main point here. Other than that, there shouldn't be any negative discussion as why you shouldn't have new development. There's other developments. There's not enough. We're a huge community. This is a growing and positive community with a lot of successful people. And I think that needs to be shown with a beautiful development, and more people want to see new developments. Near that area, I don't really see a new development. There's one on Arundel and Middle Neck Road. That was probably built 5 to 10 years ago. There's only new schools that are being built. There's not much being built. 7-Eleven is the newest thing that was built. I know that took 3 years to get approved, maybe a little bit more. That's a huge thing that's going to be a part of the community too. So let's definitely look forward to that. Other than that, let's go from there. Hopefully everyone's on board, and we look forward to a great community. And I love Great Neck. Thank you.
Beautifully said.
All right, thank you. Anyone else wishes to?
Can I say something?
Yes, Mr. Lee, just state your name and address for the record, please.
Okay, Ken Lee, 7 Garthel Lane.
Thank you.
Yes, we like development. I think we should have development like this in all villages, not only Great Neck, right? Kings Point need one, Saddle Rock need one. Everywhere need the development. Since we have this many people, this many young generation looking for apartment. Okay, so this one is definitely great development. But I have only one concern. Like I said again. I appreciate what Mayor was helping us last time to negotiate with the developer to modify the height. But one key item is our number one issue, again, still not addressed. I know there might be some issue which we do not know, is why the car has to be dropped off to this narrow dead-end street. Okay, Amy had a great suggestion widening that, but the problem is not only widening that, is this is a dead end. So just thinking about it in the morning, between 7 to 8 o'clock, every family, 3 family houses are right across the street of this development. I'm going to back my car out into the street, probably 2 cars, because I don't know which one will go out first. And everyone's doing the same thing. And there are 70 cars coming out from this property. I don't know how many of them will come out at the same time, since everyone's going to be younger generation. So I think the traffic study might look at a much bigger picture, but this is a small picture like this. People living here who can really sense it, because we do this every single day. How do I back my car out within such a short distance? What if there are cars all the way backing up all the way to the red lights? Okay, I mean, it can be resolved. I mean, it just take longer, but why, if there's another solution, why nobody ever even tried? I mean, I'm really looking for, if this stuff going to the Nassau County, I wish Nassau County Planning Board can given to be able to compare with the current traffic plan versus the plan I propose. That's my wish. I don't think it'll happen, but that's a wish. I don't know how that can have that done. Anyway, the development's good, but again, you cannot create damage to the current immediate adjacent community. That's it. I said it 10 times. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. Any other comments? One question, I don't know if Mr. Lee or someone else would like to answer, someone who has been actually listening in for the past few months. The current presentation of decreasing the number of units by 5 and having slightly lesser setback on the Middle Neck Road versus what was presented. Again, as we have mentioned, this is not a approval process. This is just another presentation, and the board is going to decide as far as the lead agency. Which one would you rather see? The one that was presented before, or the one that is being presented today? No one would like to answer that? That's fine. I just wanted to just throw it out there. Anyone else would like to make a comment?
I'd like to make a comment. My name is Aaron Yagubian. I'm a resident of Gray Neck from 4 Channel Drive. I'm in support of this project. I understand both sides of the scenario here. I do see why there might be some concern for the walkability of Guffel Plaza or Guffel Lane, but I do see a bigger issue for the walkability of Middle Neck Road if we were to have the entrance and the roundabout on Middle Neck Road. And I see that the rendering, I've seen the rendering and I've seen that it's a very aesthetically pleasing building. And then to have comments about not wanting any buildings and not seeing any canyons or valleys in Middle Neck Road or whatever. I mean, that's just an argument of taste. You know, you can't say something's nice and someone else is going to tell you it's terrible. But from what I've seen, and I'm sure people will argue that this is a very nice building. And as far as the walkability on Middle Neck Road, I don't see how it would be safer to put the entrance on Middle Neck Road, especially the amount of traffic that's going in and out of up and down Middle Neck Road. You got 7-Eleven over there as well. I just see that it makes the most sense to put the entrance on Guthel Lane. And then when you have that, you also have the setback on Guthel Lane as well. Similar to across the street from Guthel Lane, there's a retail store that there's only a sidewalk in that part of the street. And there's only going to be a sidewalk in this part of the street as well where this building is. And it's not like there's a red light, there's a stop sign, so I don't see much traffic building up at Guthel Lane in the morning, although I understand your sentiment. But yeah, I mean, I I'm definitely in favor of this project. I see that many people have brought up valid points, but I mean, how valid can they be? And how many ways can you create this project and to make it to please everybody? I see there's some homes on Guthel Lane, they're just not going to be happy about it. But when you put it on Middle Neck Road, how many people are going to be unhappy about having to walk down Middle Neck Road and have cars drive in and out of a busy street? So that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Again, just need to unmute yourself if you'd like to make a comment.
And before you make the comment, whoever's speaking next, just a reminder, if what you're going to say has already been said by 1, 2, or 6 people, we'd ask that you let somebody else speak. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Bart. Anybody else? I'm not seeing anybody else here, Mayor.
Yeah, is it okay if I speak?
Oh, yep. Go ahead. Just state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Michael Hummelpour. I live on Hawthorne Lane in Harbor Hills, New York, in Great Neck. I was just looking. I'm on Google Maps right now, and I'm looking at, Oxford Plaza. That's on the corner of Arundel and Mill Neck Road. And this is obviously a very comparable project down the block. I just, the arguments that have been made tonight aren't really lining up with what has been going on. This development didn't really hinder traffic on a much more busy street, much more busy intersection in our town, which was a fantastic project. The results were great. And I, the topics that have been brought tonight are not lining up with what the reality is, that like Oxford Place, this new project can increase the area's potential and result in making the community very happy and a very nice place to live. So also thank you everybody for tonight, and I hope to see this project come to fruition. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Please just unmute yourself if you'd like to talk.
Brian, can I just add one thing?
Is it a new comment?
I believe so, but if I missed something, I apologize.
All right.
I just want to add that this project, I mean, a lot of the discussion is around traffic congestion. Yet, correct me if I'm wrong, this project has a traffic consultant, and they signed off that whatever this new development will not bring on any traffic issues. Now,
hello, can I speak? Can I speak? Can I cut this off, please?
Yep, in 1
This
second. In 1
Please,
second.
please do not interrupt.
Ma'am, I'm very excited to hear the counter argument here, but
Just go ahead, finish your thought, please.
As far as professionals go, if a traffic consultant, someone who put in a career to learn the dynamics of traffic, suggested that this project will not cause congestion, that is someone I will believe.
Okay,
Now,
so
go ahead, Petra.
okay, so let the other, we heard this, so let me hear the other people speak, and then I do appreciate your comment though. Who wanted to speak? So please state your name.
State your name.
Hello, Mayor Brawl and the rest of the trustees. This is Cindy Zubli, number 6 Guthile Lane. I am the one mostly affected by this project. I live and work in this community. I know most of you guys who are talking right now from North High School. I want you to know that this building has an immediate effect on our livelihood here in this street. I don't know if you've gone down this street. It's very small. I understand we need development. I'm not questioning that, but I'm questioning the size of the development in this small community on this street. We've brought up the issues over and over again. I thank Mr. Bloom for looking at it for making it a smaller project, but I think it yet has to be smaller. I thank the mayor for looking at the quality of life that we have made for our families here. And I think we need to keep looking at that. Gut Heil Lane is the only lane that does not have cement on the corner. If you go down, you'll see cement, cement, cement. It would be nice to have one block where we chose to live here in the old village because it's the old village. This street does not have lights. This street does not have sidewalks. This street is a small community and we all know each other. We grew up together. We raised our families here. And you want to open a driveway next to my bedroom? I know Mr. Bloom said it would be further back, but it's still going to be 70 cars next to my house. I would like some of you to realize that 70 cars is a lot of cars when you have 0 cars. I think we should look at this project in a different way. And that's what I'm putting forward here. That's what I'm thinking we need to do. We have cement building going up on North Road. Connie Cleaners is being sold. Who knows what's going to be on that corner, which is also Gut Heil Lane and Middle Neck. We also have the new Village Hall going across the street. We have another temple being built next to 7-Eleven. There's a lot of building going on here. So that has a great impact on our community and our street here and our village. So I thank you again. I thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you.
Anybody else? New thoughts that they would like to share?
Hi, my name is Jason Levion. You hear me?
Yes. Your name and address, please.
My name is Jason Levion. I live at 720 Mill Neck Road, Oxford Plaza. Married with 1 kid right now, hopefully growing family soon to be.
Oh, Jason, you muted yourself. Jason, we lost you. Okay, there we go.
You hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Sorry, I noticed this project. At first, I thought it would be a great project, incredible, new development for apartments in this area next to the synagogues, next to my family, my wife's family. It's like the perfect location. But after the arguments I've heard, and also my great grandmother does live on Gothiel Lane, I didn't realize the traffic issue that would come up on that street. I'm saying this project seems to be a very good project for a family like mine, and also brothers that would definitely, when they grow families themselves, move into apartments like this. The one issue would be the Gothiel Lane traffic issue with the cars coming in that I do see as a problem. I hope the committee and the developers can find a solution to that problem. Unfortunately, I don't have one myself. I do like the project, but if it does cause a lot of issues on the Gothiel Lane street if there's no solution to that. So I'm a little bit both-sided. The project is a great project for the community, for new residents and such like that, but definitely we have to try to fix that Gothiel Lane parking driving situation.
Thank you. Mayor, would you like to hear more comments?
If there's anything new, I would like to hear. If there's nothing new and they just want to say that they'd like to see it, or there's traffic, we've heard the traffic issue and I've heard that there is need for more development. We know those 2 things. And again, I know people in Great Neck are smart. there are many smart people on this Zoom. If, to say that this is great, but, or this is not great, but, and there's no response as far as what they propose. I mean, I heard what proposal to widen the street. I mean, I like that idea, but it's not practical. I mean, you cannot just widen the street and take land from people's front yard. It's not an easy thing to do. I know that one of the presentations before was that if they are going to do the incentive, ask for incentive, that they are willing to widen the road until the end of the building in order to accommodate for cars to be able to get out and come in. I mean, that's something that they're proposing, and I don't think that we objected to that proposal. So as far as suggestions of how we could make this proposal a better proposal, I'm all ears. But if you just want to say it's a great project or it's not a great project, it's not going to do much. One, because it's this project, at least that it's being presented, is as of right. And the other project was, had 5 extra units and an extra floor that was set back twice. One on the first, from the first to the third floor, and then third to the fourth floor. So the question is, obviously, this is the project that is for us to hear, and it's a public presentation. The question is, which one? Again, this is my question. This is the question that I have to really think about. Which one is really the one that is going to have less of an impact on the community? If anyone has any comments, you can certainly make it, but please do not repeat everything that we've heard so far.
Yes, I'd just like to say, this is Amy Glass again. My comment about widening, can I speak, or is this guy Brandon speaking now?
Go ahead, Amy, finish the thought.
Thank you. I just wanted to say I was trying to make my comments so abbreviated. Naturally, I expected possibly a widening of the road only to the extent of the property in question, not along the privately owned homes. The other thing I'd just like to bring up, which came up last time and no one's mentioned it again, was I thought the fascinating proposal by Ken Lee to completely flip the building around so that the exit was on the south side of Middle Neck Road, not on Gutile at all. I just wanted to bring that up again because I thought it was fascinating, and I hope somehow that will be at least considered. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
All right, any other comments?
I see, Sam, you have your hand raised. If there's nobody else.
I don't have a comment. I just have a question, please. Pedram,
Yeah.
are you asking which, like, quote, we prefer, or what you're thinking about? Is the previous plan with the extra floor asking for the variances, or the new plan as of right?
Right. So the reason I'm asking that is not because that one has more units. The reason I'm asking that is because that one had more of a setback.
A setback, right.
And they were willing to actually, I mean, based on my recollection, to widen the road up to the end of the block, not the end of the block, end of their property by about 5, I think, or 7 feet. I don't remember exactly, in order to accommodate the cars and decrease the possibility of, the cars not being able to turn in and out. So that's the reason I'm asking. If, again, we have to be smart about the way we decide. I mean, we can say no, no, no until we turn blue, but the codes and the law is not going to be on our side.
I'm sorry.
And we also do want to see development and see things change for multiple reasons that I've explained before many times. One, if a village, a town, or a city stop development, that city, town, or village will die. That's one thing. Two, with the ever increasing taxes, from the school and the county, thankfully, so far, we've been able to hold off our tax raises, but you know what? It's probably going to be inevitable in a few years that we have to start increasing everybody's taxes. We haven't yet, but the school and the county has. So in order for us to be able to live in an affordable neighborhood, is to really be able to, we need to think about how we can increase our tax base in a smart way. So we have more vibrancy, more lively town, and obviously higher tax base. Again, not taxes, but increase our tax base. So more people put into the pot, and that will decrease the amount of taxes that everybody else has to pay, or at least keep it flat. So we need to think about all these issues. The issue that is, to say we don't like this, it's too big. You also have to realize, yes, do I like to see a 1 or 2 story building? Probably, but if no one's going to build those because it doesn't make financial sense, then you're not going to have any development, and you're going to just die, not you, but the town. So you need to make it, it has to make sense, not only for the people, also for the developer.
So
And again, I don't want to say this and people are going to say, oh no, you know what, I'm just supporting the developers. But you know what, it's just going to a hospital and asking the doctor to help you out. You can't, there's certain things you need the developers for, and this is one of them.
So you're saying that even though the developer has come forward with this latest proposal, you might approach the developer or could possibly
No, I mean,
go back to the older proposal?
No, I want to know what people think. I mean, I heard this and I heard that. And obviously, this is the proposal that is on the table. To me, it has to be something that makes more sense, not necessarily what, this is and what that is. People have heard this. You guys have heard the other presentation. And the developer may just be tired and say, you know what, I'm done. I'm just going to do as of right, and that's it. And if that's the case, obviously I can't. I have no influence over them. But it's a question that I have from the public, and I think I'm using this opportunity to ask you and Ken and Amy, and I think the other lady who was just, I forgot, just next door, that we have these options. I mean, right now we have only one option, but I'm just saying the other option was on the table. Which one you think has less of an impact? And again, I don't expect anyone to come up with an answer, but if you do come up with an answer, I'm just interested to know.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so I guess no comments on that. All right. So if there's no more comments.
Can I comment?
Well, if we could think about it for a few minutes or something.
Okay. All right. I'm not listen, I'm not putting a gun in anybody's head. I'm just saying this is what I came up with. I start thinking, and again, I know that some of you guys have been on this project since the inception, and all the changes.
No.
Who wants to make a comment?
I would like to make a comment, but it's not exactly an answer to your question, if I may.
Yeah,
So
name and address for
my
the
name is
record.
Kate Goldberg, 26 West End Avenue.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to remind about other traffic problem that is a little bit further down from Goodeye Lane. So it's not the only problem in this particular place. We have a very complicated intersection of Arundel, Hicks, and Middle Neck Road. And this is the way that all the cars from this project will go through. There is no other way. And this intersection becomes more and more crowded. There is another construction there, and there are other apartment buildings there. So my understanding is that there was a conversation about how to solve this very, very slow and very dangerous intersection. And there are continuously accidents on the Hicks Lane near this intersection. So I just want to say that there is much more than just getting out of the building on Middle Neck Road. There is
the complex problem, Middle Neck Road, Arundel, Hicks Lane, and so on. I also would like to remind that the traffic study have been done during the in the middle of pandemic, and there was very low traffic in this area and in every area.
I'm sorry, Kate. I don't think the traffic study was done during the pandemic.
I think it was done during the pandemic. It was done in
No.
June. No? Okay, but okay, that is good if it was not. But as far as I remember, it was done in June.
No, it wasn't.
But okay, do you know where it was done?
It was done sometimes last year. Paul, you can just opine on that, but I don't think this has been. We have been hearing this for a while. This did not come to us during the pandemic.
I see, but I just wanted also to remind that we have two constructions on Steamboat Road that also would add to the traffic, and they are definitely not part of this traffic study. My point is about the traffic that at this point, I think it would make sense to make some kind of global traffic study, not for one particular project, this or that, but the traffic study for the whole village, or maybe the whole peninsula, I would say, but at least for the whole village, as you know, as a system, because we have only three big streets connecting the northern peninsula to the northern boulevard, or the rest of the Long Island. And, you know, I'm driving every day, and I cannot, I mean, currently it's very nice because we have everything remote, but, you know, I stopped patronizing plaza shops. I stopped driving my kids to the lessons, I don't know, and all the mathnasium, I don't know, fencing and so on. So what we have done previously, because it's just crazy. This traffic, it takes me half an hour to get there. What, you know, I usually drive like 5 minutes in the night. But I'm just saying that it would make sense before adding again and again one building and making a traffic study for this particular one building, to make some kind of traffic study for the whole village and see where we're going and how we can solve this problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. I just want to mention just quickly that Nassau County in the last 2 years did a very comprehensive traffic study of the Middle Neck Road for the entire peninsula, going up to Red Brook, I'm pretty sure. So that's been done. And also just to point out that this may be 25 units north of the Hicks-Arundel intersection. There are literally probably thousands of residents who live north of that intersection and use this intersection. 25 units as a percentage, living in an apartment building, they're not all coming out of the building at once and coming to that intersection. It'll be a trickle. So as a percentage, it shouldn't affect that intersection. You know, think of it that way. I think we just stoke unnecessary. There's no traffic consideration. There is, but the load from this building is not, in my opinion, going to boggle that intersection.
Right. So I think, as Bart mentioned, we did do a while back, I think about maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, just our own little study to see how many minutes it takes from, I believe, East Shore Road and Hicks all the way to North Shore University Hospital, and also from somewhere up north and Middle Neck Road all the way down to Northern Boulevard. And this was done at different times during the day. And I think the maximum time that it took to go in these directions was about 15 minutes. and that was at the height of the traffic. Now, I travel on East Shore Road every day, different times of the day, and I can tell you that the traffic is pretty much back to pre-COVID time at this time on East Shore Road. And I want to say, I don't believe that 25 units or 30 units is really going to add significant amount of traffic to our peninsula. Again, we're not going from 50 units in the peninsula to 75 units. We're going from a few thousand units and add only 25. So I think, as Bart said very well, that this addition of few units is not really going to add so much to the traffic. My concern is less of a traffic than things that other people mentioned. And as I want to say, as Sam mentioned it, and I have been talking about it for years now, that I think now that we have the opportunity to develop our Middle Neck Road, the main corridor, and possibly East Shore Road and other areas, we really have to think about how wide we can make our sidewalks to be and how the streetscape is going to look like. And I think that is our opportunity to do, and this is going to be for the next 50 to 100 years. So we should be very smart about our decisions when we're making decisions on the height versus the number of units. And I keep going back to that. I wish there was a way that we could get a wider sidewalk, whatever that takes. Now, obviously, this is as of right, and as of right means that they have the right to do it. And we don't have, as far as this board goes, much of the power to stop anything. And not that we really want to necessarily at this time, but what I'm trying to say is that we have to think and be very smart about our decisions. Are we going to give up on our sidewalks in order to have less units? Again, we're talking about few units. Or are we going to ask and demand more from the sidewalk and have a wider sidewalks and a much nicer streetscape, and just gain a few more units? So those are the questions I think I'm asking myself. I don't know if these are the questions that the public is asking. Okay, if I don't see any comments, we can go ahead and start deliberating.
Mr. Mayor, can I comment?
Who is this?
This is Simon Ibrani. I grew up on East Side Lane, but I live in Kensington Plaza right now.
Okay.
I don't see a reason why we can't request the developer to sacrifice units and also give up part of his sidewalk to make the area a bit bigger. Even for his own guests and for his own residents, he's going to need more space. He just wants to put, some sort of leverage over you and over the board to try to convince you to allow more units by sacrificing some of the property of his, but he can fully well do both of them at the same time. I don't see a reason why.
You're right. You see, as I said before, he can, if he wants to, he can also put one unit, put a big house on that lot, and that's it. He can also choose to do that. The problem is you're asking him to do something that he doesn't have to do, because as of right means that he has the right. It's like me telling you, you buy a parcel of land on any village in Great Neck, and the code allows you to build 6,000 units. I'm sorry, 6,000 square feet. And I come and tell you, you know what? I know you can build 6,000 square feet. I want you to build only 4. What would your response be?
The response is what is right for the residents of that unit, of that apartment in the street.
Mr. Imrani, my question is, if you had the opportunity to build 6,000 square feet, and the people in that street came and said, we don't want you to build 6,000, we want you to build 4,000. Would you go ahead and build 4,000? And is that a lawful thing to ask? You can choose to do so if you want to, but no governmental body can make you do that. So you have to understand the difference between what we can do and what the developer wants to do. And if the developer wants to, increase the setback and go another 5 feet and go ahead and, add to the street so people can turn better and not add to the fourth floor, not add the fourth floor, of course, the board is going to welcome it, and I think everyone else is going to welcome it. But that said, he's not obligated to do so.
Unfortunately, what is as of right is morally wrong. So it's a lose-lose
Well,
situation.
that's not right. Morally wrong or morally right, that's not the decision our board made. This was done pre my board, and the decisions were made at that time. Were made and approved, and they did the study, and that was the time to pretty much maybe stop. But this is not the way we can do it. And you know what? People are saying, why don't we change the zoning? You cannot downzone that easily, and if you do, the application has been made. You're not going to be able to change the zone after the application is made, or you will face lawsuits. So, I know people like to throw things out and just sort of start an instigate, but, please make sure you have understand that there are laws in this country. There are codes that are written, and we have to abide by the law. We have to abide by these codes that have been approved. I know we may not like it, but unfortunately and fortunately, this is what we have, and that's what we deal with. So, again, anyone has anything else to add?
Yeah, can I speak on the topic of precedents? Mayor Brow, like you were just mentioning.
Go ahead.
Who's this? State your name and address for the record, please.
Oh, this is Brandon Sassooni. I live at 226 Dock Lane, and so I was just listening in. This is my first time, and I don't really have a position either way, but I was just listening to both sides. And one of the things that I was thinking is, that maybe a few people that the residents that live closest by, maybe immediately during construction or thereafter, might be, might have a little bit more concern, obviously. But one thing I was thinking is, what is the precedence of how projects are usually approved? And I understand that there's already like code that supposedly the developer but the other thing is, how are the concerns by the building usually handled, because developments go up? So basically, my take on the end of this was, basically we should go by precedence, I think, and that should allow things to move forward, which was the beginning of this conversation. Was we're not here to approve something, but it does seem that the small minority of voices doesn't really have a precedence to stand on legally, and so I think it should move forward after hearing all the sides.
Okay, I don't know if I can read everything. It just keeps popping up. Okay, again, why don't we do this and why don't we do that? It's because the code allows that. So you can ask for what you wish. They're not going to be able to build a 15-story building because the code doesn't allow it. They're allowed to build a 3-story building with all the setbacks and all the requirements that they are providing because code allows it. And that's the way it is. We can agree or disagree on the code, but that's the way the code has been written and adopted, I believe, about 7 years ago, 6 years ago. This was before us. And we have to abide by the code. As I said before, and I say it again, this board is not above the law. We can change the law, but even if we do, it's not going to really affect this and I'm not sure if it's going to be a simple thing to just go ahead and change the zoning code. As you guys remember, we tried to change the zoning code. I believe that was going to alleviate a lot of these issues, but unfortunately that was met with an obstruction, or I should say, opposition. And a lot of these issues would have been solved, but it was taken in the wrong context, and we are where we are. So it goes through a lengthy process before you can change anything. So again, this all is as of right, and as of right means they have the right to do it without us really intervening. But again, I was hoping for more constructive ideas, and I'm still listening, but that's what's on the agenda. Anyone else?
Can I have one more comment? One last comment?
Sure.
Okay, Candy again. Okay, since we talk about this code issues, and I've been attending the similar meetings of different boards regarding the other project, nearby project. And I don't know whether I should talk about that project right now, but it's very similar. The 733, okay? I think just the earlier conversation between the mayor and the Simon, you do kind of admit something happened on this development site, which is not in your term, right? Now, let me point out the key issue is that the property got purchased, merged, and rezoned. So they were eligible to develop what they are developing right now. 733 had passed their first package, which is smaller but compact, so dense, and we have no clue how it got passed. And now furthermore, they purchased 2 more or 3 more adjacent properties. Those properties are not even clearly within the same zone, okay, which you can develop with the same bulk and the density. But it didn't go through a rezoning procedure or whatever. It goes through variances. It got approved. And I don't know, I'm not expert in that process, but I did ask a question asking the BZA, and every single time I ask a question like that, they say, you are addressing to a wrong audience. You should address it to the board of a trustee or something. So I want to use this opportunity to raise that kind of question. If similar situation happened from 2 different lots, why or how, probably I'm wrong, why things are going through a different route to get approval? Why 733 can be easily be approved by zoning, by BZA with the not even a vague zoning boundaries, and letting those 2 adjacent property be developed under the same bulk. Okay, this is not really directly to our project, but they have a similar situation. So I do not know where is a better opportunity for me to ask that question. So forgive me, I'm asking right now. Thank you.
Okay, I don't know if you should answer it this time. If you like, you have my contact number. You can get in touch with me.
I think everyone should know, starting me. Everyone should know.
No, there's a difference between the board, BCA, and the BOT, and I just tell you broadly, and if I can ask Peter to explain further. Board of Zoning has the authority to give variances to what the code allows. So if the code allows 5 units and someone asks for
but that code does not allow a single family zone to develop a multi-family zone, right?
Mr. Lee, you asked the question I'm trying to answer. So they are able to give variances to the code and to the zone. That's what it's called, Board of Zoning and Appeals. They can give variances to the zone and to the code. And that's what they have the ability to do. We do not have the ability to do that. So someone asked
one question. Okay, then I will make your life a little easier. Does that mean the zoning map going to be changed after that passed? Is there going to be zoning map going to be changed?
I don't know.
Does not change the zoning.
I don't know.
Zoning map right now showing the zoning boundary is does not include those two additional properties.
I think what's, again,
Hold on one
I
second.
heard you. Hold on, let me give you an answer. I think I'm going to ask Peter. I don't want to just guess on what it says. I think I know what the answer is. But I would like to ask Peter, if you mind. I think the question is, and again, we're going really off the topic and it's 9:30.
I know. I think
if the Board of Zoning gives variances to the zone, does the zoning changes on the map? I believe the answer is no, but I want to hear from Peter.
You are correct, Mayor. The map does not change. The whole point of a variance is that they can give permission to a specific property owner to do something that is at variance with what the code requires. So the code and the zoning map stay the same. The individual property owner is simply given permission to vary from it.
Right. Okay.
So
I hope
what
that
do
answered
we
it.
need that zoning map for?
Because listen.
So what do we need a zoning map for? Okay, everything is a rule. No matter it's the current mistake or previous mistake. Map is the first thing you look at for development, right? So if this group, if this boards, whoever in charge does not follow the right procedure, and nobody knows these tricks, okay? People
not a
just
trick,
see the
Mr. Lee.
result, doesn't know the consequences, doesn't know what's going on, and you cannot even explain to me why do you need with the zoning map for?
Okay. So I do believe that as an architect, you should be well versed why we need a zoning map for, because every zone has its own laws. But the state of New York, and I believe other states, have instituted the Board of Zoning and Appeals. And that zoning board and appeals board is a quasi-judicial, and they do have the ability to give variances. Now, these variances can be 2 feet, can be 20 feet. That's really the way this.
Why 777 Middle Neck Road didn't have to go through,
Mr. Lee.
didn't go through the same
Okay.
procedure?
Okay, I think I'm going to move on because I'm trying to answer you.
Thank you.
Don't-
I think you try your best. Thank you.
It's not that, it's, okay. All right. Are there any other comments? Do we have any other comments? We don't. Okay. Do we, Brian?
Yeah.
Okay. Do the members of the board have any questions? Peter?
Mayor, does a member of the board wish to move the item? And before we move the item, I just inquire, one of the proposed matters within the 5 items is to direct staff to seek lead agency status. As I mentioned before, we have not yet heard from Mr. Haramis. If the motion passes, do you wish to have that conditioned upon Mr. Haramis's concurrence that this is the proper point in time to seek lead agency status and that he does not need any further information at this time?
Right. I would just like to add that if he is okay with it, then we should go ahead and take that.
Very good, sir. Then is there a motion to do the following 5 things? 1, to acknowledge that this Board of Trustees has jurisdiction over site plan approval pursuant to Village Code 575-105. And 2, to acknowledge this board's jurisdiction over facade approval for the project pursuant to Code 575-272. And 3, elect to accept architectural approval jurisdiction for the entire project pursuant to Code 575-182. And 4, subject to concurrence of the superintendent of buildings that no further environmental information is needed at this time, to direct staff to seek lead agency status for purposes of the State Environmental Quality Review Act concerning review of the project. And finally, 5, directing staff to timely forward the Lions application and any related documentation to the Nassau County Planning Commission for its comments pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 239-M. Does a trustee wish to move that item?
I would like to get an advice of counsel, please.
Very good, sir.
Ryan,
Yep, I'm gonna